Everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you're watching another great episode of Garage Talk. And once again, we are on location here at the 2024 Mountain Biking Festival in Sedona, Arizona. It doesn't get any better than this. And as Tom was just saying, last year, if you remember, they had to dig out from the winter storm that got
snow.
Oh man, it was rough. But that's not how it is this year, my friend. Gorgeous, sunny skies, great temperatures. So, what have I always said multiple times? Sedona is the proving ground in Arizona for any type of trail activity. So, I'm here with Tom with OutBound Lighting. Now, I was walking through yesterday and I saw these guys, Tom and Jason, and I'm like, oh my God, tell me about your light. Because you guys know down in the valley, when it heats up, I'm a night rider. I got a light on my helmet, one on the handlebars, and I got to start at 0-100 just to beat the heat and still enjoy myself in the regional parks. Tom, tell us a little bit about the company. Tell us about the mission that your company is on and why OutBound Lighting is so robust and superior to some other of the manufacturers out there.
Sure. So we're a pretty small company. We started 7 years ago, 6.5 years ago. My partner Matt started the company basically building lights in his apartment in the living room.
Okay.
And kind of got over the Kickstarter curse, got through the first year, had a good, loyal customer base, and started growing. And I reached out and said we could do some good things together. So he and I basically started developing products together 5 years ago or so.
All right.
Now we're up to 6 total people at the company doing all the assembly, packaging, and shipping in Chicago. So we're building everything here domestically.
Which I absolutely love.
Yep.
Absolutely love it.
We used to get some parts from overseas. We're shifting as much of that as possible to a facility in Michigan.
Okay.
So we're actually using some thermally conductive polymers for our shells. There is a raw material made in Kentucky and then molded in Michigan, built in Chicago, and shipped from there.
Nice.
So everything we can get from here, we get from here.
Awesome.
We've got one guy building every single light all year round. We've got another guy whose entire job is just to build automated assembly equipment to make that process more efficient, more accurate, so you can make better quality products and we can scale as we go.
Okay.
So we do that because we want to take care of our employees, and it's easier to do that if we have fewer people.
Right.
And we have robots. We should use them.
Right.
So a robot can do something very repeatable over and over again.
Yes,
so
efficiently.
So that's kind of where we're at as a company.
Okay.
We're doing well. We're growing. Year over year. Bike industry is weird. Industry's been down past year or so. You see fire sales everywhere.
Right.
But because we're still small, we're growing pretty quickly. We're able to not have discounts, which is good for a lot of people. Shops. We're growing our dealer networks. We've got 250
awesome.
shops. A lot in the valley right now, actually, which is great. Valley is one of the only areas where we actually sell lights in the summer because it's too damn hot out.
Right.
You have to go after dark.
Yep.
And being able to support shops, knowing that they're never going to be undercut by a sale the next day. They're going to be able to keep their doors open.
Which that's so important, especially with smaller shops. It's frustrating to see you have a product, you're selling a product, but then someone's like, oh, I can go online to their site and get it cheaper and everything. It's frustrating. So it's great that you don't do that.
Yeah, and we want to take care of the shops, and we do that also because we want to have better support locally everywhere. So if you crash and you break them out, you can go into a shop and they'll just give you a new mount to replace it. Because we've learned pretty quickly that supporting the product is just as important as the product itself. And helps us sleep at night. We like to take care of people. Plus, it's highly incentivizing for us to make a really reliable product if we're going to replace everything for free under our warranty.
Right.
So we have a pretty reliable product as a result. We also, because Matt and I are both engineers, we react to data. We see data out in the field, we find a problem with the lights, we fix it in the design, and we roll it in quickly. We don't have to wait for red tape or corporate anything. We just make the design, push it in manufacturing, and make the lights better. So actually, our helmet light, hangover, every single part of that light internally and externally has changed since we launched it, except for the top shell. And even that's had a few minor process improvements.
Right.
And that's because we wanted to make improvements to the light, but we didn't feel like it was so massive that we needed to tell people, you need to buy a new light. The light you have is great, and we can actually update them if you need to. So for the products, we try to have as few SKUs as possible to cover all the use cases. So we're optimizing the lights for the type of riding you're doing and the mounting location, because those two play the biggest roles in what kind of beam pattern you want specifically. And beam pattern is our bread and butter. So Matt, our founder, is an optical design engineer from the automotive industry.
Nice.
So every product has a unique optic that we design and simulate in-house. We prototype, we test, we refine, we go through it iteratively, and we're trying to really make it perfect for that type of riding. So road riding, very different from trail riding, different requirements. Road riding, you don't want to blind people, so we have a cutoff beam like a car headlight, so you're not blinding people, which is also...
You demonstrated for me yesterday,
Yep.
and I thought it was absolutely amazing. We can actually do that again for this video, but I mean, it was, we'll get to it, but that was phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's good for a number of reasons, because you're not pissing people off.
Right.
It's actually safer if drivers can see
you
and aren't blinded.
Right.
And it's more efficient. We can actually use less total light output to give you the same visibility, because all the light's going on the road where you can actually use it. It's not being wasted in the sky.
Right.
So we can get better run times and have a lighter weight product that's really optimized for the application.
Yeah.
Same way for our trail lights, we've got a helmet light and a handlebar light, our Evo and Hangover. Your helmet, because it's pointing where you're looking, can be a narrower beam, because you're not having to think about where that's pointing, it's pointing where your head is pointing. That means if it's narrower, it's covering a smaller area, which means you can use less power to do that, which means smaller battery, lighter weight. We can tuck the mount in on the back side of it instead of underneath, so it sits lower to your helmet.
Right.
So you don't feel it flopping around as much. And it's more ergonomic, so we can have something that's really competitively lightweight, lighter weight than anything else in the industry for a self-contained light of this power, and optimized. For the handlebars, your bars are never quite pointed where you're looking. You know, some low techie climbs, your bars are all over the place. Even when you're riding, you might be like counter steering into a corner, and now your light is pointing the opposite direction of where it should. So we don't want that to be narrow. We want that to be a really wide beam. So when the bars turn, the beam turns kind of like this.
Right.
The idea is that if you lose your line, you have narrow lights, and you lose your line on a trail, finding it again, you have to hunt around with the light to find your line.
Yeah, you don't. It's almost like a directional floodlight.
Essentially, yeah. So it's not just a glare bomb. Right. It's still refined, focused light, but we try to make sure that the entire field of view is very evenly illuminated. So instead of just having a bright circle of light, it's bright out there, and then is a nice smooth gradient all the way to the periphery, even behind your front axle, you know, grip to grip, so that you have a wall of light. You don't have to look down at your front wheel in techie sections. You've got enough light down there to be able to see. So the handlebar light does the heavy lifting, and then the helmet light fills in down trail at speed and around tight corners.
Nice.
And so the helmet light has a little bit of a vertical tail to the optic as well, so that you basically have this from the bars and this from the helmet. So when you look into that switchback, you're looking ahead, but you also have all the trail leading up to that spot lit up as well. So we also try to sweat details. I think you ask about what separates us from other brands. You know, the optical engineering is first and foremost. That's the most important thing about the light. But we also look at every single facet of the design and try to think about it, you know, very specifically, what do we need to do to this to make it better?
Right.
We make a list, you know, battery status indicator, the button ergonomics, you know, the lockout modes, cable management, all of that, and try to look at what everybody else is doing in the industry and make sure we're doing it better. We're doing it very deliberately, at least. So, you know, we want it to be as simple as possible. So, like, all right, we want the light to be centered out in front of the stem. It makes sense to be there. It looks more natural. Sometimes cables get in the way. Well, we just make a little clip so you can tuck them out of the way. And that's something that you don't have to have on the bike. Not every bike needs it, but the ones that do really do. Yeah. So having this little clip that we actually 3D print is a really simple solution to that.
Well, and it's an end user refinement that Apple does really good at doing this. You don't know you need it until you are presented with it and you use it and like, oh crap, I did need that. So it's nice to see that type of forethought where you're being not reactive, you're being proactive as far as that goes. And we've talked about it a little bit when we've talked about camera reviews, more in the lighting and continuous lighting. I get these questions all the time for me at the camera shop. Why should I go with aperture lighting over this Amazon brand or another competitor? Because this says it does 1,000 watts or 600 watts. Okay, so we got to look at that wattage and also the optics and the light chip, that circuit that's involved. And is it so many watts? But where's that drop off and roll off and everything? And so you're producing superior, glass and optic to now use less to generate more through engineering. Which, guys, it's called science. science, and science, put a person on the moon, we drive cars, we fly in little aluminum tubes and everything. And I tell you guys this all the time, I joke, physics, it's the law, it's not a suggestion. So that's one of the things I really enjoyed in speaking with you yesterday, is the amount of engineering and forethought that's gone into these lights. It's just really impressive.
And marketing is one thing, science is another. We're not marketers. We're trying to market. We want people to know who we are. But lights in particular, people don't know a whole lot about light, about how their eyes work. And the bike industry has not done a lot to educate people about that. So it's all been about lumens per dollar.
Lights aren't sexy.
Yeah.
And the bike industry is all about being sexy.
Yep. So we are actually doing less with more. We are trying to use as little light as possible to give us the coverage we want.
Right.
We don't want this to be a 12,000 lumen light, because in order to maintain that power and thermally maintain it, we have to have a massive battery pack, a massive heatsink, potentially active cooling depending on where you are.
Right.
That's not optimized for the application. You do not need that much light to get that coverage to be able to see to ride your bike really fast at night. So we're basically projecting out what we want in terms of intensity at various points on the trail at distance, and then back calculating out how many lumens we need to actually get that intensity coverage.
Optimization.
So this is around 2,500 lumens. This is around 1,000 lumens. We have another product coming out in a few months that'll kind of slot in between these, and we're picking those lumen numbers based on the optic and the beam pattern, not to be competitive with another 3,000 lumen light, because that's not important. So we're really trying to think about every detail like that, from the mount interface, the ergonomics, just the user interface. Most people don't want to think about their lights.
And these things are slick too, guys. Seriously, they're really awesome as far as the design and build quality and everything.
This is standard GoPro mount,
right.
because lots of helmets have GoPro mounts built in. You can get third-party mounts. You don't have to come to us to get them. Why reinvent the wheel?
Right, perfect. It's already done.
For handlebar, we wanted to use a GoPro mount initially because of that, but it's not really ideal for this. So instead, we made an interface that's based off of camera tripod mount, old Manfrotto mount design. So we've got a little...
Lord, now I'm done with these guys, Manfrotto. God, why couldn't it be Arca Swiss?
Sorry, it's a 40-year-old dead patent.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we miniaturized it for this application. We have the plunger in there just to keep it open so that it's a one-handed operation to slide the light in, and the cam interface takes out all the play, so this never develops wiggle. And
now he's regretting talking to a camera guy about that, but I could see where that application is great. That's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, it's a GoPro mount could work, but it would be bulkier. It would not be as strong. It wouldn't take out the play, and wiggle on the bars is something that's really noticeable because your head is a little bit isolated from trail vibration. Bars are definitely not. And if you ever get on a bike with a bike light that has a rubber strap and you notice the beam shaking, you get on this, it's like, oh, this is what it could be like.
Right.
Ah, that's nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you and I were talking yesterday as far as life expectancy out of the battery, because it's USB-C, which is awesome. Get with the program, Garmin.
You said it, not me.
I did, and it's my show, so I can say what I want as far as that goes. But it's just, it's a sidebar. It's frustrating when, again, we're in 2024 and we see certain things come out and they're still clinging on to what I consider an archaic technology. Stop being bike Amish. And I'm stealing that from my friend John Correa, who says gun Amish. I'm going to start using it. Quit being bike Amish, okay? When we were talking about, though, as far as longevity, you said about 2.5, 3 hours runtime.
Yep.
And then this one was about the same. But when we were talking, when you have both of them working in tandem and as efficient as they are, I could put these in medium, not doing the full lumens output, and double my runtime on longer rides. And I'm not sacrificing anything at all as far as the quality of light, the directional pattern, or anything along those lines, which I think is great. And again, that's that innovation that we don't see in other companies. It's all about, because people think a bigger number's better. That's how we've been trained as far as marketing. A bigger number's better.
Same way with bikes, right? There's a reason there's trail bikes and downhill bikes.
Yep.
You don't take your downhill bikes to a cross-country race.
Right.
You don't pedal your road bike on a downhill course.
Right.
Same way with lights, too. Road bike lights need to be different from trail lights.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Courses for courses.
Absolutely. So, Tom, I can't express enough gratitude on sharing this with us. I'm super stoked. Guys, seriously, you guys know what I'm riding, so I don't need to mention it and everything like that, but I'm going to be switching here which is very lucky for me because our hottest time of the year is around the corner here down in the valley. So it's almost time for those night rides. We do the full moon rides. You guys know this. And we even do night riding up here north in Sedona, Prescott, Flagstaff, all the areas up here. So over the next few months, these are going to get a workout, okay? And then I'll be able to give you guys just a full review at the end of the season, September, October, but along the way give you updates and everything. So all those nighttime trail videos that you're going to start seeing here in the next 4 or 5 weeks, this is what's going to be lighting the way. And the fact that I can put a GoPro mount a little bit lower right here, this is fully adjustable. Instead of having that Pezzle light right here, snapping me across the bridge of the nose, you know.
I was laughing about that yesterday.
Yeah,
quite a
it
bit
is
when you
funny,
told me.
you know. Just like all of a sudden, whack, you know. So yeah, so this is again, and you guys know, anytime that we talk about here on the show or anything like that, it's something I believe in. I'm not shilling away for anybody. The link that's going to be down in the section down below with the comments and everything like that, that's not an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid by these guys or anything like that. I genuinely think this is an amazing product, and I don't care, like for when I'm riding the canals or riding the road or the trail or anything like that, this is going to pay dividends for me, and I think it will pay dividends for you as well. So stay tuned for all those updates and everything. Now, of course, this is the time I'm going to ask you, like, subscribe, bell notification icon, because it helps out the channel, helps out the video. All right, links down below. First and foremost, it's going to be Outbound Lighting. I want you to go there. I want you to check out the product and show them some love. Seriously, guys, you know I like to support that smaller group, the smaller companies and everything like that, because they take the time to do it right, and you as a customer do not get lost in the shuffle, and I really appreciate that type of commitment. We've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the devil's work, but we need it to get the word out on Get Out Arizona. Bike rides, or group rides I should say, hikes, all kinds of fun stuff like the festival and having updates and everything like that, okay? And, you know, at that point, what do we say? My friends, seriously, be kind to yourself and others, be amazing stewards out on that trail, because we lead by example. And I have to ask,
I like that.
What are you waiting for? Get Out Arizona. My friends, we will see you on that next adventure. Tom, seriously, thank you so much. I look forward to putting these lights through the paces and reporting back to you guys. So everybody, have a fantastic day. We'll catch up with you again.